The year is 1969, and during the end of the war, an American squad receives orders to secure Ia village against North Vietnamese forces. Under the heavy rain, Private Devereaux comes looking for his fellow team members, only to find them and a bunch of villagers dead with their ears missing. Disturbed, he enters a shack to investigate, and discovers Sergeant Scott has gone insane, and killed everyone. Scott is wearing a string of severed ears as a necklace, and also holding two young people hostage. Devereaux tries to reason with Scott, saying that the war is over. But Scott gets furious and shoots the boy before ordering Devereaux to shoot the girl, in order to prove his loyalty. Devereaux refuses, and when Scott moves to do the killing himself, Devereaux's stops him. Then he begins running with her to help her escape, but Scott shoots Devereaux to make him fall, then throws a grenade at the girl, killing her. An upset Devereaux decides to fight Scott, only for them to end up shooting each other at the same time and dying. The next morning, the U.S. Special Forces come by and the commanding officer orders his men to put away the bodies in ice and to never discuss with anyone the truth of what really happened. Years later, in 1992, the Hoover Dam in Nevada is being taken over by terrorists who have already killed plenty of people. Bodies of several civilians are scattered all on the roadway, and the police officers who tried to interfere are now dead by their police cars. There are more civilians taken hostage, and the terrorists keep insisting on their demands. Soon the police are told not to interfere anymore because the military is sending the Universal Soldiers, an elite counter-terrorism unit. Among these soldiers there are Devereaux and Scott, who are now called GR-44 and GR-13. They Tim been revived with no memory of their previous lives and essentially act like robots, always following orders without showing any emotion. There Timmy is also a curious crowd gathering nearby. And soon TV news journalist Veronica arrives to cover the story. However, because she TM is late again, she ends up being fired. The Universal Soldiers jump into the water and begin climbing the dam to sneak inside unnoticed. Devereaux and Scotty shoot a few terrorists that are keeping guard. Then they connect the terrorists' TM communicators to the team technicians to play a recording loop to cover for the dead guys. They keep making their way inside, knocking down every guard they see, but when one of the soldiers finally finds the leaders inside, he immediately gets shot down. To the terrorists' TM surprise, the soldier suddenly moves and begins shooting back as if the bullets had done nothing to him. Devereaux and Scott soon arrive to finish the other terrorists. And when Devereaux sees the hostages, he begins getting flashbacks of what happened in Vietnam. Turning around, he looks at Scott and remembers him as responsible for a tragedy. This distraction causes him to freeze and ignore radio commands from the control team. Outside, Colonel Perry, who is in charge of the Universal Soldier Project, gives the interviewers a bunch of vague answers. This awakens Veronica OTM's curiosity, and she decides to follow him, wanting to get this story to get her job back. Later in the command center, Itawao Tim Sa revealed that the soldiers have enhanced healing abilities and superior strength, but also have a tendency to overheat and shut down. So they are given a neural serum to keep their meals under control and their old memory suppressed. The technical team is trying to figure out where the frozen and when they ask him, Habakusa discovering what happened in Vietnam, which is heard by Scott Sunakacha. The technicians point out it may be better to remove Scott and Devereaux from the team until they can be further analyzed, but Perry Agichoe tells them it's to team's just a momentary memory lapse and to just erase those memories again with the serum. Outside the command center, Veronica leaves the car to investigate, ignoring her cameraman. Tim Stees Mana, protest about this being too dangerous. She tries sneaking onto the base with a camera, and when she opens a random box, she shocked to discover the body of a wounded soldier. At first he appears to be dead, so she begins taking pictures, but Suddenly he wakes up and freaks Veronica out, causing her to accidentally set off an alarm. Veronica immediately runs and gets in the car with her cameraman, but the soldiers are sent to capture her and they cause the car to crash and overturn. The soldiers take the duo out of the car and wait for orders, but when Perry tells them to take the camera and return,